on how to exploit stories using drama in the classroom and teach the curriculum. And what she invented was Mantle the Expert, which is what I'm going to talk about. So what I'm going to do for the next 2 minutes is just give you the outline of what Mantle the Expert is, the elements of it, and then we'll look at these things in a little bit more detail. So for a start, Mantle the Expert creates imaginary context for learning. The students in the fiction represent a team of experts. These experts are professionals with expert knowledge and the power to make decisions in the fiction. They work for clients, different kinds of clients, depending on the context and depending on the situation of developing the story, developing with the students. This one is somebody who has had an accident on the side of a mountain and is in a serious way losing consciousness, and these children here represent a mountain rescue team who've flown their helicopter up to the side of the mountain to rescue this person. They also work for other people who don't classify as clients. This group of people here are visiting a museum that's part of a restored castle. And these are the people that restore the castle, and they're showing them round. And the idea behind that is to give the learning that the children are developing meaning and purpose. It's just some photographs. Does that happen in the classroom? Different classrooms. This is the museum people again. Now, the work that the team does for the client involves them in commissions. And the commissions are how you connect stories with curriculum learning. Because the commissions, we'll go into this in some detail in a minute, involve a range of tasks and activities. And the tasks and activities are the things that you use in order to teach the children. This is Boudica with the red hair and her daughters, and this is a recently found tomb, undiscovered for 2,000 years, where Boudica was buried. And this work that they do and the contexts create meaningful and engaging cross-curricular context for learning. So, this is a quote from a student, Sasha Spencer, who I taught. She said, that Mantle the Expert makes it more exciting, helps you learn better, because we're doing it ourselves. If we read it out of a book, we'd learn stuff, but we wouldn't learn how to do it. And that's the key thing she's picked up there. When you're in it, it's like you're in your own story and you're doing it. This is work. It's like fun work and it's creative stuff. So, how do we do it? This is there's a whole range of different drama strategies in Mantle the Expert, which I haven't got time to talk about today, but they're the kinds of tools that you really need in order to make it work effectively. But at the heart of it is a very simple idea, and that's the idea that what we're trying to do in the classroom is create an imaginary context, an imaginary world that we can step in and out of. So on the outside, the real world doesn't go away, it's still there, and we can come out into the real world whenever we like, and then we can step into the fictional world, the imaginary world, in order to create these contexts for learning. Now, when I was trying to first understanding how this worked, I thought it was quite a complicated thing, and I used to try all kinds of different complicated ways of doing things. You know, have music playing, or put a hat on, or turn around, or all those sort of strategies that signal to the kids, we're now stepping into an imaginary world. Actually, you don't need any of that, because it's the kind of thing that kids do all the time. Just go out on the playground and watch kids play. They're always stepping into imaginary worlds, and they do it linguistically. And that's exactly the same way that we do it. So I'll illustrate that. I was playing, when I was trying to work all this out, this idea out, I was playing with my youngest daughter, Etty, who was about 3 or 4. And we were playing Scooby-Doo. And she said, "Can you play Scooby-Doo, Daddy? That's real world, isn't it?" So I agreed, and I said, "Yes, we can play Scooby-Doo." So I said, "What do you want me to be?" She said, "I want me to be a monster, I want you to chase me." So I agreed. So I start chasing her. As soon as I start chasing her, we're stepping into that imaginary space. As I chase her, I catch her, and she screams and starts crying. Because I'm too scary. And my wife does. So, as soon as she starts crying, she's back in the real world, isn't she? She's stepped herself back into the world because I've been too scary. So I have to stop. If I don't stop, I'm just going to terrify her, aren't I? Which I don't want to do. So I stop and I say to her, "How scary do you want me to be?" And she doesn't understand tension. So she turns me into a rubbish zombie. So she's running away and I'm barely able to move. And she's like, "Oh God, it's really boring." And because I'm not being scary enough. So we talk about it back in the real world. And she wants one of those kind of zombies that nearly catch her, but not quite. You know, in Scooby-Doo, like with the hand, you know that thing. So that's what she wants. So now we're playing in the imaginary world. It's negotiated. This is what I'm telling you. It's negotiated. It's co-constructed. Mantle the expert is a co-construction form of work. You've got some idea. And we co-constructed that bit of play. It's not learning particularly, but it's play. So I'm now chasing her, but I don't catch her. That's what she wants. Now, in the classroom, we can exploit that by stepping out of the fiction in order to teach kids stuff that they need in the fiction. So if they're in the fiction, and they need to write a letter, for example, we'll have a look at an example in detail in a moment, and they don't know how to write a letter, then you have to come out of the fiction and teach them how to write a letter. They're not real experts. In the imaginary world, they're experts, but that's just a position. Like Etty and me are not really the people in the fiction. So we have to come out of the fiction, and I say, "Right, you need to write a letter. I'll show you how to write letters." And I'll do a bit of direct teaching. Just normal teaching, look at letters. But the difference is that there's a purpose to it in the fiction. We're going to use those letters in the fiction. So we write them outside, go into the fiction, and use letters. So the curriculum, which I'm sure this isn't news, but the curriculum is made up of know what and know how. So we want the children to gain information, we want them to know stuff. And we also want them to know how to do things. They're the skills things. And it's important, I think, for us to keep in mind these two things are running alongside each other. Because the know what is the knowledge, is the content of the curriculum, it's the stuff of the curriculum. So when you're learning how to do things, you need to have content, you need to have context. So the two things aren't separated, they're combined. And I think it's a mistake that we're making in teaching, to kind of separate those things out and treat them differently. They're not actually different, they're combined and complementary. So Mantle the Expert is a cross-curricular approach. So we're going to look at an example. There was a couple of photographs that I showed you earlier that we'll now come back to. And what we're going to do is we're going to ask the question, what is the story of Florence Nightingale? I'm sure everybody's familiar with that. And the Actually, introducing this in the classroom requires the children to have some knowledge. They need to know stuff about Florence Nightingale. You can't expect the children to step into the world of Florence Nightingale if they don't know anything about that time. So you need to front load information. You need to give them information at the beginning. Now if you overdo it, this is a balancing act. If you overdo it, the kids will just get bored or switch off and they're not going to know. So you give them enough. Give them enough to get going, get into the fiction, get engaged in the fiction, and then you can come out, when they're engaged, when they're immersed in it, you can come out and you can teach them more. So it's a kind of in and out type process. So at the beginning, you need to show them some film. There's some good films about Florence Nightingale. Look at some books, look at some images, get an idea of what Scutari was like before Florence arrived, and maybe listen to some accounts. How did it time-wise?
25 past.
So, this is a picture of somebody in Scutari on the day that Florence arrived. So they've got some background knowledge, they know what they're doing, they know what the situation is like. Now they're stepping into the fiction. And here we have a nurse who is doing what she can for this dying soldier. Now, she can't do much, she can't say anything, she doesn't have the knowledge, doesn't know how to have the expertise, so all she can offer the soldier is sympathy. This is the child's idea, this is her idea of what Florence will see when she steps into the hospital. She'll see things like this. So here we have Florence being shown around the hospital.